Brian Noe with you from Cards of Light. Welcome back to my tarot table. We're going to be looking once again this week at the four dimensions of life, and we're using the Thoth tarot deck once again. And in the physical dimension, we have the Princess of Swords. Over in the social emotional dimension, we have the Nine of Discs. In the mental dimension, we have the Empress. And finally, up in the spiritual dimension this week, we have the Five of Swords. So one major, two pip cards, and a court, and two from the suit of swords this week. Let's take these one at a time. Over here in the physical dimension, we have the Princess of Swords. And this card elementally is Earth of Air. My kind of keyword for this card is the Intrepid Sleuth. This is someone with a lot of youthful energy, sharp mind, loves to get out and see what's going on and study things and solve mysteries and that sort of thing. I would take this coming in the physical dimension as a cue to get outside, get out and explore. We are here in the Northern Hemisphere heading into spring. Hard to believe we're already coming into the fourth week of February here. It's kind of crazy. But anyway, I would say as we can this coming week, let's get outside and let's do it with a spirit of curiosity and kind of try to break some of our just habits and routines and, get out into an area that we're not used to being in. If that's the city, find an interesting place to take a walk or perhaps, some sort of cultural event or site to go out and visit and explore. And if we're somewhere else, let's get out in the wide open. If you've got parklands and nature in your area, it's just a really good week to go out. But try to get to some place that you're not used to going. So that's the way I would look at that. That'll be good for body and spirit. Over here in the social emotional dimension, we have this Nine of Discs, and this is the card in the Rider deck that depicts the beautiful, wealthy woman kind of out in her vineyard with the falcon and all of that kind of stuff. So it represents taste and good fortune. Sometimes it can be inherited wealth and all of that kind of stuff. But I think in this case, coming in the social, emotional dimension of our lives, it is about those material aspects of our lives getting in the way of relationships. So whether we are experiencing gain, whether we are experiencing good fortune this week, or whether we have experienced some sort of loss in terms of our the material aspects of our life, we need to be most attentive to the relationships. Don't let money get in the way of love. Don't let practical, particularly practical financial matters, get in the way of cordial relations with others this week. So that's the way I would read this. And then we get up into the mental dimension, and we have the Empress. And this card is about that beautiful, nurturing, motherly energy in our lives. It generally is an indicator of pleasure and success and fertility and elegance and all of that kind of stuff. Coming in the mental dimension, I would say that this is a cue to if we're learning things, if we're reading things, spend time with what feels good. So that could be a good book, but not so much, kind of knuckling down with something that it takes a lot of work to study, but instead just enjoying, whether it's poetry or a novel, or even something that may be kind of frivolous. Enjoy it, something that you can kind of just revel in and relax with. Again, it could be enjoying the arts, going out to the theater, going to a gallery, going to listen to some music or something like that. Something that is edifying to our mind, but also uh, does not require kind of nose to the grindstone sort of attention this week. And I think that we we can return to the kind of very serious, studious stuff at some point, and sometimes taking a little bit of time to just relax a little bit, but still keep our minds active. That can be helpful over the long run. So um, maybe puzzles and things like that. For some reason, that's coming to mind as something that maybe would be good to spend some time with this week. Anyway, whatever that is for you, enjoy the mental dimension of your life this week is the way I would interpret that. Then over here, finally, in the spiritual dimension, we have this Five of Swords. And we've seen this card an awful lot lately. It is about defeat and loss and just bad things, slander, failure, anxiety, all of that kind of stuff. And I think I mentioned recently when this card appeared that it is rumored that Lady Harris' art on this, that her intention and Crowley's intention was a hex on the Nazis. And so that could well be. My short keyword set for this card is winning ugly. And so coming as this does in the spiritual dimension, I think it is advice to be a good sport. If we are losing this week, we need to try and be as gracious about it as we can. And if we are winning, we should not gloat. I kind of have a feeling that this has something that it's really hard with any reading or any activity nowadays, if you're living in the United States, to not kind of place it in the context of what is going on in our politics. And I'm getting a sense that the tide is kind of turning with all of that at the moment. For my taste, it's turning a little bit too slow. But we may see some advances this week. And if that is the case, then we want to just thank our lucky stars and, not gloat about it and not be a poor sport. I think that would be the way that I would see these four cards. I would love to hear what you think. If you'd like to leave comments here with the video, you can, or pop on out to the weblog at atarotjourney.com.